Alright, so this little diagram is designed to show you what the relationship between a conception and actuality might be, and even what the relationship between conception and a word might be. So the theory behind this little diagram is that there's a set of phenomena in front of you that's too complex to deal with, and so what you do is you generate a low resolution representation of it. And that low resolution representation is actually what you see. It's not a concept, or you could say it's a percept. It's what you see when you look at something. So, for example, and then what you do with your words is you label the percept of the thing. And so it's like a double compression. That's in some sense what you're doing. So you have a complex reality, you perceive it in a low resolution form, and then you label the perception, and that gives you a word. And so what you're doing basically is taking the world that you can understand and you're putting it in smaller and smaller and tighter boxes until you have a box that's small enough and tight enough so that you can actually manipulate it. And that's a fine plan, except when it doesn't work. And so then the question is, well, what do you do when it doesn't work? And that is the question. Okay, so you could say, if you look at the top left-hand corner, I called that the thing in itself, which is a phrase from, it's a translated phrase from German philosophy, and the old idea was that, well, you never really have contact with the thing in itself, because you're not capable of perceiving it or comprehending it. So what you see are elements of it. So we're going to say, well, that's the thing in itself, it's a schematic representation of it, it's quite complex, and then hypothetically you can see that thing in all the other ways that are illustrated in the diagram, right? So if I asked you what that was, you could say, well, it's a rectangle, or you could say it's a rectangle with 4 rectangles as sub-elements, or you could say that it's, I think that's, what, 24 rows, which it also is, or you could say it's a bounded rectangle that's made out of 2 paths and 4 sub-rectangles, or you could say that it's, I don't remember how many are in there, but you know, that's the most differentiated representation, object 5, and then you might say, well, which of those is the real object? And the answer first would be, well, none of them are, and then the second answer would be, it depends on what you want to do with the representations. And you actually, it's not really obvious that you can make things more real than that. It's like, how real is what you're perceiving? It's real enough for certain operations and not real enough for others. And so, its validity, it's a pragmatic approach, its validity is determined by its applicability in the situation in which you want to apply it. Okay. And then at the bottom there are words, and the words are basically labels for those percepts. So, you know, the first one you could sum up as 432, because I guess there's 432 little circles there, and the second one you could, on the bottom you could summarize as a cross or a rectangle, and the one at the top you could summarize as a flag, and you get the point. So the word is representing a percept that's already simplified, and that's representing something that's more complex underneath it. Okay, so